Here's my big idea. Consumers can save the world. I'm only 16 years old, but I truly believe that shoppers like you and me alike, we can change the future. It would cost $30 billion every single year to end world hunger. But just last year, 40 times that amount was spent on consumer items in the United States alone. And that is not essential items like food and healthcare, but rather luxury items. How many Snuggies do we really need? If just 2% of the money spent on luxury items like that were used to help end world hunger, we could do it in 1 year. I'm here today to talk about the awesome power of social entrepreneurship and its ability to change the world. Social entrepreneurship is business that is not just focused on profit, but also people and the planet. It is how business will thrive in the future and will be how my generation makes a difference. Because if we don't, right now, 80% of the world lives on less than $10 a day. And although it may be easier to ignore this fact or think that that's just the way the world is, my generation will face new wars, famine, infection, and pollution. We are running out of water to drink. So although we have come this far without social entrepreneurship, my generation will have no choice but to change. Now, why do I care about this? Well, when I was 13, I created my first social entrepreneurial venture, and it changed my life. I created the Under the Radar app, which is a ringtone for iPhone and Android devices that gives its user a ringtone that only people under the age of 21 years old can hear. So that means that if my phone went off in my grade 11 classroom, my teacher would not be able to hear it. But allow me to share with you why I was inspired to create Under the Radar. Why at 13, when I really wanted to just go play soccer or video games, I was moved to create an app. When I was 13, I had the unique ability to travel to Cambodia and see firsthand how children my age and younger were forced to work for survival. And while there, I saw this little girl on the side of the path that was selling these bracelets. And this girl was able to charm her way into selling my entire family bracelets. And I'm going to be honest with you, we initially didn't even want these bracelets. But that impressed me. I was so impressed by how smart and resourceful this little girl was as a salesman. And it led me to realize that given the right opportunities, this girl and millions of others like her around the world would be a powerful force if they just had the opportunities. And that is why my app is named Under the Radar. Because not only will students and teenagers be able to stay under the radar with the ringtone, but they will be helping that girl and millions of others like her around the world who are truly living under the radar. And that is why my company donates 20 cents on every single download to Feed the Children in support of their efforts to build schools and educate children all across the globe. In April, thank you. In April last year, at the age of 15, I wanted to take my mission further. So I auditioned for Canada's #1 reality TV show, Dragon's Den. With an audience in the millions, entrepreneurs from across the country compete for a chance to pitch their business ideas and products to a panel of 5 multi-million-dollar investors. Now, I was really nervous. I knew that I was going to have to face the mighty dragon himself, Mr. Kevin O'Leary. But despite my fears, despite my worries, I entered the den. And I'm truly humbled to say that one of the country's top business leaders invested $25,000 into Under the Radar, and at the age of 15, we became business partners. After my Dragon's Den episode aired, Under the Radar rose to the #2 most downloaded app on the iTunes Store, ahead of apps like Angry Birds and Minecraft. And although I was only 15, I began to be invited to speak to adults and students and universities about social entrepreneurship. What started as a small spark by a young girl living in Cambodia turned out into a project that played on national TV. And this didn't happen because I was fundraising or even because I had a good business concept. It happened because I mixed business and social purpose into an everyday item, a 99-cent ringtone. But we as teenagers, we love consumer items. We love the latest fashion trends. We love our smartphones, but we also want to make a difference and impact the world in a positive way. Conscious business allows the everyday person, you and me alike, to experience both whenever we buy something. And luckily, social entrepreneurship is the wave of the future. Some of you may recognize the shoes I'm wearing today. I'm wearing a pair of Tom's shoes. Tom's is a great example of a conscious business. For every pair of shoes sold, a pair is donated. And a lot of people say that there's nothing that special about Tom's, but I feel special wearing my Tom's because I know that they are so much more than just a pair of shoes. One of the biggest myths in the business world is that you can't be charitable and profitable at the same time. But those people need to see the true power of social entrepreneurship and that, in fact, social businesses have an edge over their competition. And a great example of this is the company Salesforce. Salesforce is the fastest growing top 10 technology company in the world. It is growing faster than companies like Google and Facebook and Twitter. And one of the core components of Salesforce's business plan is their commitment to social purpose. You see, at Salesforce, they have adopted a 1-1-1 model. 1% of all employee time is volunteered, 1% of all profits is donated, and 1% of all products is given to support charities. But if you still don't feel that social entrepreneurship is the wave of the future, let me share with you what some of the most progressive business schools are now porting in their educational institutions. Universities like Harvard, Stanford, Yale, and Wharton have increased the amount of classes they offer at their business schools that include social content by more than 100% in the last 8 years. Now, I don't know about all you other teenagers in the crowd, but that truly makes me excited to go to university in 2 years. There is no doubt that communities and individuals and even businesses can benefit from social entrepreneurship, and there is no doubt that we need to act now. If we can incorporate giving into everything that we buy, our shoes, clothes, or even candy, we could impact the world in a way that has never been done before. Now, I'm still a kid, and I love candy. So naturally, I love Halloween. And every single year of my life, I have gone trick-or-treating. And every single year, I have proudly carried my little black and orange trick-or-treat for UNICEF box, collecting coins. But now that I'm older, I wanted to compare that conventional giving style to social entrepreneurship. And here's what I found. Every single year, there are over $2 billion of candy sales in the days leading up to Halloween. If just 1% of that number was donated to UNICEF, they would raise $20 million every single year. Compare that to, on average, UNICEF's Trick-or-Treat for Halloween raises $2.5 million every year. That's a difference of $17.5 million every single year. And as consumers, which candy would you rather buy? The one that gives back to UNICEF or the one that doesn't? Now that is the power of social entrepreneurship. All of us can make a difference. Last winter break, I traveled to the slums of Delhi. And I want you to imagine a place that in some ways should not exist, a place of heartbreaking human misery. And yet, it was in this place that I experienced great joy and inspiration. From the profits of my company, we were able to donate school supplies to over 1,000 children living and studying in the slums of Delhi. But I would like to share with you how these kids inspired me. In the video clip I'm about to pull up, I am talking to a 4th grade girl named Payal. And although Payal took great pride, and her parents as well, in sending her to school well-dressed, she was living in dire poverty. And when I asked Payal why she wanted an education, why she wanted to become a teacher, this is what she said.
टीचर क्यों बनना चाहती है बेटे?
कि जैसे हमारे अपनी मैम पढ़ाते हैं, वैसे हम किसी बच्चे को भी पढ़ाएं।
Payal, who spent her entire life in the slums of Delhi, told me that she wanted to use her education. She wanted to become a teacher so that one day she could come back to her slums and teach other impoverished children like herself. If this girl who has so little can give back, then why can't we simply make better choices in what we buy? And although this experience was incredibly rewarding, it is just a beginning. If we truly want to impact the world, we have to think differently. We have to go beyond believing what we can do. We have to stretch ourselves. I know I had to, and I'm so glad that I did. You see, I was born with 4 fingers on both of my hands. And as a child, I went through a lot of surgeries and physiotherapist sessions to make my hands look and become more normal. I was told that I would never really be able to play certain sports, and I was really self-conscious of how they looked when I met new people. I would always put them behind my back or try to, shrug them in my pockets. But now, I play sports on a national level for Canada. I have gone on TV in front of millions of people, and here I am today, talking to all of you about my hands. When I was 15, When I was 15, I also felt that I was too young and too average to make a difference. But I have seen how great it feels to make a difference doing something that I love. And I want every single young person of my generation to experience that same joy. If we could continue to take 1% from luxury items sold, in another year, we could build schools all over the world. And in the next year, we could build hospitals. The future possibilities would be limitless. And for those of you who may feel what I'm saying is absurd or idealistic, the great Einstein once said, if at first the idea is not absurd, then there is no hope for it. Whomever you are, wherever you come from, whenever you buy something, look for a social entrepreneurial business. Look for the clothes and shoes or even candy that will help you give back. And when you're older, look for the cars and homes that are linked to charities. We, as consumers, can do something that has never been done before. We, as consumers, can do something that nonprofits, despite their efforts, have never been able to do. We, as consumers, can do something that governments have never been able to do. We, as consumers, can save the world. Thank you.